Hi everybody. My voice is kind of scratchy. Well, I don't know if it'll sound scratchy, but I feel kind of like, I can't stop being like doing the little thing, but I'm not like full on coughing or anything. I don't feel really sick, so I think I'm just affected by the dryness. I think it's the heat and the change of temperatures. I think it's more that. But occasionally I'm like, when I talk, like, like my voice cracks slightly, which is great. But yeah, I think it's just the heat. Sounds a tad raspy. Yeah, I was talking to someone earlier. I work with a voice coach, and we're sitting there and we're like doing some test reads of some stuff, just going over like scripts she made, um, for practicing different things. And I'm like going over it, and I'm like, she's like, deliver this one with more like this one needs, you're convincing them of this thing, so you need to sound more like this. And I'm like, okay, you know, like, okay, got it. We were just laughing the whole time because when I try to do certain things with my voice, like it's totally fine if I'm a little scratchy, and then other things it just does not come out. So that was interesting. She's the best though. She's super helpful. We were ranting today about dude, I voice acting in like standard cartoons, like American cartoons, and then in like any other media where you need voiceover, really, usually the standard is pretty good. But then when I hear dubbed anime, and not just the old stuff, but even like current stuff, sometimes I'm listening to it and I'm like, this sounds so bad. It sounds so amateurish. I don't get it. Yeah, I don't get it either. And I'm like, there has to be something going on. Like, these people are getting these jobs because they know somebody or something. Like, it cannot be because of skill. Like, sometimes, because I'm like, I don't think I'm like really great or anything, but sometimes I listen to that and I'm like, man, maybe I should have applied because I could I could probably do better than some of this shit. I think a lot of the really popular series do have better dubs for sure. Um and it depends on like who is doing it. There are some voice actors in anime that are really great and their dubs get praised and everyone's like, yeah, I will watch the dub instead of subbed actually. And then there are other projects where sometimes I hear them and I'm like, brother, what is this? Bad direction mostly. It's not just bad direction. Sometimes they just don't sound good. It's like porn acting, where it just sounds so like you don't believe a word they're saying. And it's just, I don't know. There's some that are really good though. Connor said something once, sometimes their dialogue has to be written to match the character's mouth animations. Sometimes it ends up awkward. It's not the dialogue, it's the delivery. Even really bad dialogue can be delivered well. You could tell when it's as good as it's gonna get versus when it's like, okay, everything's bad. I don't know. But the other thought is, I was gonna say something along those lines, Blazing. The other thought is, like, it's not the industry that pays the most. Because they already paid for voice acting for their native release. So they're not trying to pay high dollars for the best of the best when they're exporting it to another country because they could just have people watch it subbed. So it's just extra money that they're paying just because it's good to do on the side. So they tend to not pay as much, so you don't get like the, you know, always insanely good people. There are some of them that are still insanely good though. And it's tough because I feel like a lot of voice actors that do really well in anime dubbing, it doesn't mean that the whole cast is going to be good. So sometimes the whole dub is still a little hard to listen to, but like one or two people sound really good in it. So that can be interesting. I don't know. I think a lot of the ones that work in anime that do really well are the ones that you also see working in gaming. Sayu's a great example of that, right? I think that the people that you see kind of doing both tend to be pretty good, right? Pretty good. Spanish dubs are usually really good, but the rates are horrible. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a small market. Like, how many people need Spanish dubbed anime? Not a lot. I think it's still a good number, but you know, it's not something they're gonna shell out a ton of money for. So, you know, it's interesting. Yeah, part two, JoJo, Joseph's VA is amazing, but some of the others are very sheesh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot of dubs. I also feel like there's like one or two people that are so good, and then a lot of the side characters, you know, that's like a $50 role, you know, like so they're not. I don't know, man. I don't know. I also find that the way they direct it, this isn't always the VA's fault, but the way they direct it is very overdone. But then when you listen to the Japanese version, a lot of the time it's like there's a lot of emotion, but it's a lot softer. It's a lot softer in a lot of like emotional bits, whatever. And then the person who's doing the English dub is like delivering this much harsher line. And I think it's because they don't let them hear the JP dub first a lot of the time. They're just given the lines and shown a visual scene, and then they're not working with the JP creator always to be like, now really deliver it like this, you know? The dub in Cowboy Bebop. Yeah, that's an example of a really good one. Yeah. To this day, one of my favorite dubs was Cromartie High School. Cromartie High School's English dub. It's almost not worth watching in Japanese if you're a native English speaker. They did so well with the delivery of everything, but the way they localized it too, so that all the jokes still landed, was just so, it was so well done. To this day, I'm like, I think that's my favorite English dub of any anime ever. And of all shows, it was Cromartie High School, you know? Just like, I don't know how they did it, but they went so hard on it. It was so good. Ian voice acting, at least in anime, isn't really as established. We don't really have enough people enthusiastic about VA work to have as many legendary VAs as Japan. I disagree. I know a fuck ton of people that are super interested in that sort of stuff. The industry outside of anime in English voice acting is still huge. It's enormous. And those people don't really tout themselves around as celebrities the same way they might in JP voice acting, but those people on the back end are still like hugely known in the industry. Fully disagree. I think a great example is Gilbert Gottfried, right? Obviously, he was like a one voice Andy, but anytime they needed something like that, they went to that one guy. And we have a lot of people like that. You just might not know their names. But there are plenty of them that are absolutely legendary. But the anime side of it is definitely like a different set of people for the most part. Not a ton of intermixing. You've heard of Japanese dub of an English movie? Yes, actually, I've heard a lot of Japanese and Korean dubs and Mandarin dubs actually of English movies and things. Because a lot of my friends over the years have been a lot of exchange students. You know, many years ago and more recently, I have a lot of friends that are not really the best English speakers. And so I have had many situations where I've had them watch American movies to kind of like introduce them to a classic or something cultural. And we put it in a dub in their language and then just sub it in English so I'm still following. You know? Sometimes we do the opposite. It's in English, but the sub is in their language, but they tend to prefer to watch dubs a lot of the time. So I have I've watched a lot of it. Yeah, TV shows like King of the Hill too and stuff. I like hear the dubbed version. Or if it's Korean, we just watch it dubbed, you know, it's whatever. But that shit's funny. It could be really funny sometimes, the way it sounds. Hold on, I'm gonna answer one work DM. Breaking Bad Japanese dub. That's one I've never tried. Yeah, King of the Hill is huge, and it's crazy because, like, it's so dependent on the American Southern accent. So I don't know. I don't know how you even begin to get that across. Shit's so funny. Hold on, I'm setting up. I have to answer a DM about meeting times tomorrow. I feel like every day now I have meetings before stream. Hold on. Whew, okay, there we go. I got a new keyboard, by the way. Got a new keyboard, so I was using the Logitech G910 Orion Spark, and it had their Roamer G switches, which I really like, actually. I've really enjoyed those. This one is a successor to it, and it's weird. I almost didn't want to buy it, but I really like it. It's the G915, I think. Let me see. What was the name of this one? No, it's not the... Well, yeah, G915X. The keys, the keycaps are like super low profile. Like they're short. They're short. And it's a weird thing that I'm not used to seeing, but I've seen a few more modern keyboards like this, and I actually am enjoying typing on this. Look at this. Instead of like those fat, tall keycaps, it's the same shape. Like the way it feels on the top, it feels exactly the same as typing on one that has bigger keycaps. But they're just shorter, and it just lays a little flatter down. It doesn't really feel too different. But I like the switches on it a lot. They lowered the actuation point on them. It's PBT keycaps. The space underneath means I can just... Dude, I could pick this thing up and go... and get all the cat hair out of it. Really easily. Which is kind of one of the things when I looked at this, I was like, yeah, I want one of the keyboards that has like a flat bottom like this. You prefer wired over wireless? Always, yes. But I actually really like this thing. I was like, oh, I'll just get it temporarily so I don't have to download any new software for anything. I'll just get like whatever the newest Logitech one is, and then if I don't like it, you know, I'll get like a different mechanical keyboard. And then as I've been using it, I'm like, wait, I really fucking like this. I really enjoy it. It's good. It's a good keyboard, man. And I thought the shape of the keycap being the same but shorter would make me feel differently in some way, but it doesn't feel different to type on at all. It barely feels different than typing on one with taller keycaps. I just feel like I am actuating faster. Everything is just a little faster. So I actually really like it. And cleaning it's so easy. Do you like how mechanical it looks and sounds? I'm really attached to mechanical keyboards. Yeah, I like the way it feels. The keys are backlit, yeah. Yeah, a lot of the light pours out from the bottom, so it kind of gets a nice glow out the bottom. But the individual letters and numbers and things, the text, it's fully lit. So it's nice. It's nice. I like it. Yeah, you said it has the same satisfaction of super clicky keys without being too loud. Yeah, I like that it doesn't have, like, the really sharp, high-pitched click. I don't like that. I'm not a fan. Not a fan. This is like a more... It sounds like a soft click, but it doesn't feel soft. You know? It doesn't feel like brown switches, Cherry MX Browns. They sound soft, but they also feel a little soft. And I like those switches, but they're okay, you know? This one has the same type of... Yeah, like a warm... sound. Yeah, like a nice warm soft click. And then it doesn't feel too soft though. So I like it. I like it. It's nice. Yes, I'll tactile here. I'll put my keyboard to the mic. Ready? It's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. It's a very warm, soft click, but it feels tactile, which is what I want. It sounds like a 90s mechanical keyboard, which is what the thing I think I like about it. It sounds old-fashioned. I don't know. I enjoy it. I enjoy it. Yeah, you said you tried a ton of keyboards at the store. I actually did go to a store and was typing on a bunch of them. I have a keyboard. You know what's really funny? I got, so I have this PR package that I got. Remember when I was sponsored by Demon X Machina? Titanic Scion, the second game. Really good, by the way. I played through more of it. It's really good. I have over there in a box. So they gave me the PR package. They sent me the physical edition, so I have the PS5 edition. They gave me like a figure to paint. They gave me paints and a grayscale figure to paint, which is really fucking cool. And then they gave me a mechanical keyboard. It was like the day after I got this that I opened that part of it, and I was like, wait a minute. So I have an extra keyboard if I need it. It feels nice. I don't know if it is like the nicest one ever, but it feels nice. So I have it. So if anything happens and I like really need a keyboard, that is going to be the one that I leave in my closet. There you go. Should I buy the tactile or clicky version? Tactile. Not clicky. Yeah, they have the 3 versions. Let me find it. I got the wired one. I actually really like the way it looks too. I don't know how much you guys care about aesthetics, but looking at it on my desk, it's just this thin little thing, but it still looks like a mechanical keyboard. I really enjoy it. I actually don't like the look of mechanical keyboards that are super, like, chunky. I think when they're chunky, they kind of go against, like, what I've got going on in this room, which is a lot of things that are, like, sleek, you know? So I actually don't prefer the chunky look. So this is nice that it's not like that. Where does it say the thing about the versions? Yeah, they have tactile, linear, and clicky. Yeah, I got tactile. I was checking a double check to make sure. Aesthetics is a big part of the setup. Yeah, it's secondary to me though. Like I care when I look at it, but I don't care enough to change it if I like just mechanically like the thing. Oh, here's a picture of the, this is what I was looking for. I was trying to find a picture of the side view. Look at this. It like in not in a bad way. It almost looks like a shitty like tablet keyboard. You know, when you pull out like a flat little thing. Or like I hate the Apple keyboard. Hate it to death because it's the flat base. But then above that it has a full size switch. It has a full-size switch. It's just the keycap that's short. It's just that the keycap doesn't make your fingers set up really high, which I like. I like because I find you end up tilting your hand up a lot, or you have to like add a wrist rest or something so that you are properly above the keys pressing down into them. This starting lower makes you not have to like set yourself up so high. And I actually like feel way more comfortable with that. I don't know. I like it. I didn't think I would. I bought this and I was like, well, I'm probably not going to like it. And I'm probably going to give it to my brother and then, you know, get myself a new one. Like, I was fully expecting it. But the reviews are really good, so I tried it out. And I like it. It's good. So yay, new keyboard. Yay, new keyboard. It's got a metal frame too, which I like because my cats are constantly like jumping up here and scratching stuff. Like, I don't know, just getting their claws on things. They're not trying to like actively scratch stuff. They just kind of jump up and hit something here and there, you know? So having this be metal means that it's not gonna, like plastic, get a bunch of random ass scratches in it constantly. So that's nice. That part is nice. Tried the demo for the first one, dropped. I liked it, but lip pour, yeah. Yeah, it is like 200, so I will see if it lasts. I'm going to assume it will because every other keyboard I've had from this company has always lasted a long time. So I'm like hoping. I'm hoping. And those were all plastic. So, we'll see. We'll see. But so far it's good. I don't know. I'm just glad. I don't want to replace my mouse yet, but I have worn through, there's like rubber on the left side. Where my thumb goes that I've pretty well worn down. So I'm considering it. I don't really need it though, so I'm going to keep that until it dies. And then my headset, I use so much. My, I like live in this headset basically, so I really need to do that. See if they'll sponsor you. Yeah. I mean, I'm working on and getting a sponsor through a general like PC company. I don't really feel the need to go for a peripherals company. I could do both. I mean, it wouldn't matter because they don't really cross over too much, but still. One thing at a time. Yeah, yours is torn up. Yeah, mine there's like the faux leather, whatever it is, for the headband part, and it is just shredded. It is gone. I've basically pulled it off at this point, and I need a new one. But I don't want... The headset works fine. And I hate throwing shit out, you know? Like, I'm not... I like to use things until they, like, actually cannot function anymore. But I feel like as a streamer, it's kind of stupid to not just, you know, buy shit when it's time. Because it's... I work in it all day, you know? You need a replacement? No, I checked. You can't replace just the headband like that without buying the whole thing. But then also, I have the same issue if I look at my, what is it? Sorry, I'm like tweaking because I'm holding the headset. Like the ear cup area, whatever you call that. The right side, up at the top, stitching, completely torn. Completely open. Just exposing the foam. So, it's time. It's time. But we'll get there eventually. So do not smell them. Made that mistake before replacing mine. No, I wipe mine down frequently. Frequently. Hold on. One sec. I'll tell you in a second. Hold on. Someone's trying to poach my artist. Not poach my artist. I have a like 2 pocket artists that work on a lot of things for me. And every time I suggest that like I have them work on a thing for me for someone, then that someone or that company always tries to like then bring them into their environment and throw a lot of work at them. But if they take all of that work, then I don't get their time. So, you know. But it's not like they're like W-2 employed, so it's not like a literal poach like that, but, you know, it can be really difficult. Yeah. I don't know. It just always happens. It always happens because I go out of my way to try and find artists that are off the beaten path. They're not the ones that everyone already uses. So I go out of my way to find people and contact them and start working with them, and they do a lot of work for me, and then I recommend them to other friends, and some of those friends do work, and then they're kind of part of like our environment, you know, our little like circle of people. And then every time like a company or two will always be like, hey, you want to do lots of work for us? We'll just give you constant work. You don't need to do anything else ever. They always do it. And I'm not really mad at those companies for it, because I would do the same. If I was like a company like that, I would, you know, and I had need to like basically salary somebody because I need constant people, I would also approach any good person who came my way. But like, do research and find people if you're a company, you know? Just do research and find artists. That's what I do. That's how I find all the new ones and introduce them to this community. It's just, I don't know. I don't know. I think the part that makes me like mildly salty about it is I go out of my way to find and contact people that don't have a lot of active commissioned work, but are really good because they themselves have never really marketed themselves that well. And I put all that time in, and then I get that person's time, and I'm like, there we go, you know? And then other people are just like, oop, yoink. It happens every time. Happens every fucking time, man. But if you're a large company and you have staff that are like biz dev staff, shouldn't they do that? The thing I'm doing? So it's like, I'm not mad at the companies for trying to pick up an artist that's good, that's right in front of them. It's more that I don't see them doing the research to then pick up those types of artists that haven't been found yet. Yet they're like hired full time. So I'm like, sometimes when I see it, I'm like, what do you do all day? You know? But it's not my business. It's just one of those things where you're like, eh. But it's happened to all of my artists like 10 times over. You know? Even my model artist, she worked with me. I was the first ever model she made. And then after I did a model with her, God, the amount of work that she has now from other people is insane. And she has worked with a lot of people from other corpos and stuff, doing like illustrations for their music videos and all of that. No, it's not Noro. That's Zan. But it's tough because then if I want her to do like an outfit, if I want her to do the art for one of my outfits, she often can't. She can with like really long notice. So I have a different artist that draws my outfits because she's so busy. You know? So it sucks. It sucks. I'll just say, I wanted to get your thoughts on the apparent Western content creator misuse of Skeb, given how many people didn't seem to grasp the TOS, not asking about the drama itself, just the overall situation. I completely am tuned out of that. I don't give a damn. Not that I literally don't care, but like I haven't given a damn to read about it very much. I've heard vaguely about it. I will say there are plenty of people in the past that have misread the TOS. That's always been a thing. And many Skeb artists have been upset by that previously. For example, the whole site says you can't use this commercially. This is not a site for commercial commissions. Yet I have seen people in the past, they don't do it that often, but I have seen them like get art through Skeb and then try to put it on, you know, a mug or whatever, a t-shirt. And then the artist is like, what do I do? And it's hard for them to reach out because they don't speak English, you know, and it's like a tough situation. Skeb describes itself very clearly as a site that is for personal commissions, and the nature of it is that you don't get a lot of revisions, etc., etc. I just follow the TOS. That's the TOS. That's all. I was asking, since you touched on the matter of commercial license stuff for our work forever ago. Yeah, basically the site doesn't touch commercial licensing because they don't want to touch that. So it's just for commissioning artists to draw things for you. That's it. Using commercially means selling it. Yeah, using it to generate profit. So for example, I have used Skeb quite a bit in the past, and if I wanted to use something for a thumbnail, I have said in my request, when I initially send it into the artist, I have said, if possible, when you accept this, I would like to be able to use it. Like, I'm commissioning this so I can post it personally, but I'm also wanting to know if I can use it in a thumbnail. Which a thumbnail is not the money generating thing. It's not the content that generates money. So usually they accept the request and that's fine. That's totally okay. I've also sometimes had to DM an artist off site just to ask a question like, hey, can I use it for this? Because it's not specified in the TOS anywhere. And I just use DeepL translator and you know, they're usually like comfortable. They're glad that I reached out instead of just doing a thing, you know? But some of them don't answer. Some of them won't take messages not through the site, and the site doesn't let you message back and forth. It only lets you send an initial request. So the site is kind of designed in a way where you're not supposed to talk to each other. It's meant to simplify it and water it down. So if you need something more complex, just don't use the site for it. That's all. As for all the drama on that, I don't really know much about it. What I will say is water is wet on a lot of this. Right? That's how I feel on a lot of this stuff, and I've always said it. I also don't like that this is a scenario that I don't think will ever end. People like to pick on people that they think they can get to, people that they feel they can get under their skin. So when certain people make a mistake or do a thing that people don't like, they tend to go extra hard on those people because they get reactions out of those people. And it's just annoying to see people behave like that. They should just ignore when they don't like something someone did, like say your piece and then you're done. It's clearly just a lot of bad intent when people are shitting on her. There's also a lot of misinterpretation and everything, and it's just like, I haven't even read that much about it. I've seen like some little bits, and even the little bits I've seen look so messy, and I'm like, yikes. So that's why I haven't really I don't really know too much about the details of it, because it just looks like a situation that everyone should just like shut up and move on from kind of thing. You know? But I could be wrong because I don't know. They're like, there's detail to it that I'm not privy to because I haven't gone and read every little thing. So I'm just like, this looks annoying. This doesn't affect me. Okay. And that's kind of, you know, then I move on with my day. So I don't really know. You know? But yeah, I think when, like, if you need a commercial commission from somebody, yeah, don't use Skeb. It clearly says don't in its TOS, like the site-wide TOS. Yeah, VGen is good because they do let you clearly say, you know, if this is a commercial commission and what that means or not. But also just don't use artists in general that don't outline TOS clearly. And if you go in with a certain intent, you're like, I want to commission somebody because I want to put stuff on a t-shirt and I want to sell it through Teespring, right? Then when you commission them, you go, hello, it's me. I want art of me doing this thing. I want it to look like this. I want to put it on a t-shirt and I want to sell it through Teespring. Is that fine? Can I get rights for that? How does your commercial licensing work? You can ask the question, you know, like you just talk to people. It's just, I don't know, put some damn effort in and you'll be fine. You'll be alright. I don't know, man. I don't know. I also think, like, the only other thing I do know about that whole scenario is I don't think she was talking specifically only about Skeb, but people made it about that to the point where Skeb posted something publicly. But I was pretty sure that that wasn't, like, even what she was trying to talk about. It was just also lumped in. But I don't know. Which, you know, this feels very similar to me, like, when I complained about, like, people getting weird about graduations, and I wasn't talking about something that was a specific topic. I was just talking in general about, like, all of it. And, a fuck ton of people were like, oh, so you're talking about this specific thing? And then they, like, started getting really upset over it. And I was like, I didn't say that at all. I didn't say that at all. Could you apply it to that? Yeah, that too. But that's not what triggered it. I didn't even know about the news when I posted it. It was about older stuff, you know? So like, and then I had people trying to like say crazy shit over something that I didn't even say, you know? So when I just see that situation, I'm like, yeah, it kind of looks like it's more of that. I don't know. She never mentioned Skip. She did in a reply at some point, because I keep, as much as I try to avoid drama, people keep replying to everything with screenshots of shit she said, and I'm like, dude, who cares? Okay. One person said something that you didn't agree with or you don't like, and then you make it your life's mission to repost it. Dude, just like unfollow or something. I don't know. I don't know, man. Like, people can have thoughts and opinions on the internet, but God, at some point, just disconnect, right? I don't know. And there's even stuff that I disagree with. I'm just not about to go bashing on somebody that I don't completely hate, you know? So yeah, first time chatter, let's breathe. It's boring. Yeah, it's right. That's thank you. That's basically what this all boils down to, is like, dude, you could, instead of finding the next drama on Twitter to like get emotionally invested in, to read a lot about and start like, you know, replying to people about, you could just open Arc Raiders. Great game. So fun right now. You could just open Arc Raiders, you know? So like, when I see people spending like time out of their day on this, it's one thing if it's your first time seeing it and you're formulating your first ever opinion, whatever, right? But when I see people like sharing information and writing these long replies, and I'm like, clearly you've spent so much time thinking about this, reading all different angles and blah blah blah. I'm like, you're spending hours of your day. Brother, just go play a video game, you know? Like it doesn't it make people really like just feel negative, feel bad when that's all they do? I don't know. I can't live like that, dude. Yeah, this dude, hey, Sleepy Toast. Sleepy Toast, the thing is, you said there's screenshots everywhere. That's the problem. You're looking at screenshots and you're caring. Just open Arc Raiders, dude. Okay? That's what I'm saying. Once you reach the level of being like, oh my god, there's so much everywhere, and I'm reading what's in the screenshots, I'm sitting here reading the screenshots, stop yourself. Stop yourself. Now, it's one thing if it really affects you. If this affects you, okay. But if there's nothing actionable to do here, dude, spend time doing something that you enjoy, you know? It's not worth your time. It's just not. Also, no, I don't know why your TTS didn't play, so I'm reopening it. I am reopening it. There you go. So I am on X and I have no idea what this is about. Yeah, I only know like tiny little bits because it's like the stuff that's unavoidable being thrown at me. But I have always just like skimmed past it because I'm just like, yeah, it doesn't matter to me. You know? You said, I don't choose what Twitter For You page show me. That's the problem. Don't use the For You page. I promise you, it's cancer. It's cancer. It's so bad. Don't use the For You page. Okay? When you open X, when you open Twitter, and you go to home, there are tabs up at the top. Okay? One of them is For You. Skip it. Next to one is following. Use that one. And then when someone keeps posting drama or is like posting about other people's drama, don't follow them or mute them. If you want the follow but you don't want to see that stuff, mute. And you can curate your feed heavily. So heavily. Now my like me the VTuber account, not that well curated because I have to be able to interact with all these people because they're like in my industry, you know? But I've got another account that just follows shit I want to see, and I have a great time. I have a great time using Twitter on that account because it's curated, you know? I promise you, if you just spend time doing that, you can genuinely have a good time on the platform without getting like shoveled slop. Just don't use the For You page. Just don't. It's so bad. It's so bad. Same with YouTube. Go straight to your subs. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's so much better. Yeah, like you said, if it ain't impacting you directly, why are you getting to the point where you're going through logs like it's a legal battle? That's how I feel about a lot of other stuff. With like people the past year. Dude. I've also, oh, you know what I've been seeing so much of? Dude, VShojo's over. It's gone. We're past it. Or at least I am. I'm past it. Well, people keep bringing shit up. And they keep mentioning me. And I'm like, hey, move on. They keep bringing shit up. Dude, it's done. You know? Oh, man, I keep seeing it. No, it's not Voldemort. We can talk about it. It's whatever. What more is there to say? Nothing. I mean, the stuff that comes up at this point is just like getting confirmation on things that we maybe thought in the past but didn't have confirmation on. Or like, oh, this situation that happened, this is why it happened. And we'll be like, oh, huh, damn, would have been good to know that. That's it. You know, like it's stuff that maybe like for us that were directly involved can be kind of upsetting when you find out like the reason for a thing or like how something actually happened wasn't how you thought it happened. You know, that some of that news can like suck, but nothing's actually changing. You know, nothing's like relevant to anyone. There's nothing actionable for anyone outside of us, especially. But yeah, people keep dredging it up, dude. And I'm like, who fucking cares, man? I was over it a long time ago, you know? I was like, get me out of here. Get me out of here, because this shit is cooked and I don't trust any of this anymore. And so I got out. Done. You know, it was over. You know what I mean? And then all this shit went down and it was more of a public thing. And I was like, okay, well then I'll explain what I can to the best of my ability, what I can say at least. And that's it. I did that and now we're done. I don't know. People keep dredging it up. Best thing about VShojo dying is that the talent all seem happier now. Yeah, it was just a time of a lot of unrest, a lot of us trying to figure a lot of things out because we're trying to figure out what the right course of action was. Trying to figure out how we can do things. Like, it wasn't as simple as everyone could just leave whenever, for example, you know? I still see people being like, oh, this person didn't leave at this time. And I'm like, yeah, they couldn't. Like, you don't know what their contract looks like. You don't know how this stuff works legally. You're not in that room discussing these pieces of paper. It's not that simple. When I left, I had declared I was leaving months before I actually left because that's how it worked. I couldn't just be like, today I am, boom, gone, you know? Etc., etc. And it's different for different people, so, you know. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff people keep bringing up that's like weird. Everyone's kind of misinformed. I feel like a lot of the information has gotten telephoned really badly. So sometimes people say stuff that's like super untrue. And I've noticed they keeps getting weird. Yeah, conspiracy posting. There's still, I think the only people that are still really actively talking about it are the people conspiracy posting, which is weird. I don't know. Yeah, some stuff is just made up. Or people keep misquoting. I get misquoted a lot because I talked about it quite a bit. And I'll see people be like, oh, she said this. And I'm like, I literally didn't say that. But okay. Pop off. You know, if I go in there and go, oh, actually, something, it's not going to convince those people because they want a conspiracy, you know? So, I don't know, dude. I don't know. So I'm out of the loop a bit. Are there active lawsuits or no? I don't know who has what going on. For me personally, no. Because the only thing I could really, like, sue for or pursue is money, which doesn't exist. It was already spent. So I would just spend a lot of money that I don't have. I think I would do something out of moral goodness if I had a lot more money. But I'm not, I'm not rich. I'm not rich. And I've spent thousands and thousands each month just to get stuff like wrapped up, just normal legal stuff, getting it wrapped up, in the past however many months. I can't afford to, like, do that. I just can't. I just can't. If there was something to get out of it, it might be different because then at least like there's a light at the end of the tunnel, maybe. But like when there's actually nothing to get, I can't spend that money. Yeah, for what? For revenge or something? I don't know. I don't make crazy buku bucks. You know? I just can't. I also have spoken about it a million times, but yeah, medical shit, and then I don't just support myself, I support other family members of mine. So, you know, I got a lot of overhead, so I can't be doing that, man. What do I sue for? Give me my money, and then I could get them to say yes on paper and then not have it. You know. But I've already talked about this before. People love paraphrasing others to justify their conspiracy. Oh, always, yeah. Always. Well, hey, PSA, if someone sees something online and they want to get it clarified, they're like, did you mean this? Did you say this? Is this what happened? You can always just ask me and I'll clarify. If you're like wanting clarification because people are saying I said a thing but you're not sure, you can just ask because I go live many days a week. You know? You can just ask. You know? Were you at least able to get your merch back, or is it still limbo? I don't think it's in limbo. I think it's gone. Yeah, I have zero confidence that I'd be able to retrieve it. What I do have is I have a piece of paper between myself and the company, signed by me and the CEO of the company, that says, instead of certain things, I'm just trying to get my merch. Like, just give me my merch. You know? Just give me that. Because I know you don't have this. I know you don't have that. I know blah, blah, blah. At least I think. I don't even know the numbers because no one has actually seen papers showing us actually the numbers. Like, none of the talent, you know? So I'm just like, well, I have, like, inklings and thoughts. I don't know. But just give me the merch. And that was signed. Yes, you can have this. But then a lot of other legal stuff exists that just bars me from getting it. So, you know, I tried. But that's the extent to which I can do anything, really. It's not auctioned or junked or anything. It's literally just sitting there because the company hasn't gone bankrupt yet. There has been, as far as I know, no filing. No one said anything. There is someone who was the lawyer on the company's side. I say was because I like haven't heard from them in like forever. Thank you for the 25 Taka. Thank you. I appreciate it. But there was the only person we had been contacted by or talking to, like me and my lawyer, for many months was just one lawyer that was representing the company. And we got that one paper signed and had some other questions about merch stuff since then. They answered what they could, and then boom, that's it. Like, no contact. So I really just don't, I think it ends there, personally. And if I wanted to, like, enter a legal battle to try and get it or something, I think it would cost me so much money that I don't have. I like, genuinely cannot do it. I genuinely cannot. So, yeah. If I were, you know, I made $35 million from YouTube, I probably would consider maybe pursuing some shit, even if it's expensive, to try and see if I could, like, yeah, recover some items or whatever. I don't even know if it would be possible. It might not. But I don't have that, so. You know. I'm not one of those. You know. And it was, thanks for explaining the lack of numbers there. As an accounting professional, I'm baffled at that, but explains a lot. Yeah, you know, I'll clarify, because there's some people that keep claiming that I, like, knew specific info. No, I didn't know any, like, really good specific info. What I knew was based off of assumption and vibes that feel, not all of it, but most of it, especially relating to the finances, was all stuff that I was like, yeah, it was like inferences, right? Where I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is the case. But no one's handing me, like, the financial information of the company. Why would they ever do that? I was not an employee legally or anything like that. We had contracts with them, but we were not like W-2'd. You know, even then, you wouldn't hand it that to your all of your employees or anything like that. You know, that's crazy. The only thing I had seen was it was like the year prior, and it was a general update on the company, with some numbers that were very incomplete, and they weren't. I think they were rounded. I don't think they were exact. But, and this could have been someone lying. They could have written any number on this chart. I have no way to validate if any of it was true, but company definitely showed me something that was like, here's what came in total year over year for certain years, like 23 and prior. And here's what we spent out. And it was in really big, vague descriptions. So it was like, let's say we spent $100. It was like, yeah, $30 of this was for talent stuff. Which, like, what does that mean? It meant, like, I don't know, like art for a merch thing or like whatever. I don't even know, a concert, you know. And then like another $30 was this, and then the rest was like staff salary, right? Or just said staff. So it's very vague buckets for each year over year thing that said like, generally here's how much we spent on like these, it was just 3 major categories. So it was no real breakdown. And then it also had one of like, here's how much of our actual profit, showing how much of this is supposed to, you know, not be ours. And it wasn't a proper ledger. It wasn't a proper in and out. And nowhere in any of the financial info that I saw did it ever say how much money they currently had. It didn't factor in like the investment. So I couldn't tell how much of that was used. So I just did math and inferred. I was like, I think this shit is ending soon. I think they're running out of this within the next like 2 years or so. And they said, yeah, they were like, yeah, we, you know, here's our 5-year, 6-year plan basically. And at some point, yeah, we're going to be out of it. And so we're looking for more where we can. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. And that was what I knew. You know, like I never got to see like specific numbers. And that's why I really thought the I really thought that the situation was they were approaching running out of their own money, and they were getting there because there was a lot of reasons to infer that they were getting there. I never really was sitting there thinking that there could be enough either active malice or that level of incompetence to actually be spending money that wasn't theirs to that extent. And then I found that out later, and I was like, oh, I guess I'll die, you know? Hi, Lucky. Meow. Good boy. But yeah. I don't know. Yet people will still be like, didn't you know exactly the numbers? And I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? I had a chart was like, here's how much we spent on talent stuff, kinda. Here's how much staff cost, kinda. And for like a year prior, not even that current year. So I was like, I don't know. But I don't even think that the numbers I was given were like exactly correct anyway. With how much other info was not correct. So I don't look back at it and I'm like, oh yeah, I can like definitely count on this and count on that. I think a lot of it was just like cobbled together and not really right. I don't know. Yeah, bite. I don't know. But yeah. They heard you were a treasure, thought was for them and not your gang and GTA RP. Yeah, I don't know, dude. I don't know. But it was like, everything was just vibes. That's why it's so hard to tell people, like, they're like, oh, when did you know this thing? And I'm like, I never knew. I just inferred it was likely, and just when enough things piled up that I could infer were bad, probably, maybe, I was like, it's too sus and I should go. That's really what it was. I didn't really have confirmation on anything except for like how Matara's stuff went down. That was like really the first time I'd seen hard confirmation of something like being handled poorly with full knowledge, and I was like, oh, yeah, never mind. Right, Nook? Nook. I don't know. Yeah, senses tingling. Yeah, that's really like, yeah, and that's kind of what was scary about it too. I was like, am I gonna be leaving off of vibes? Because I was still thinking there's a chance I could be wrong, right? There's a chance, or not even that I could be wrong, more so there was a chance that they could actually just get investment and just come out of it fine. And then I would have just left and been like, I don't like it here. And then, you know? And then I think, like, I could have gotten fucked, honestly. You know? I probably would have been okay, personally. Maybe some other people would have gotten shit on more. So, it still felt like a risk at the time, and I was like, man, this sucks, but I'll do it. I'll do it anyway. I don't know. I know Matara recently said something. I didn't really address it much, but she recently said a thing where she was like on Twitter and just was thanking me and Zen for doing what we did and all that. But I think while it felt morally good to do, it was also a risk. So I don't. But also, I will say, myself and Zen, but especially me, I was particularly able to do things that way. Whereas not everyone might not have been able to do it in that way. Some were unsure and wanted to discover more information because, again, everything was off of assumption and vibes. And it's hard to make any decision when you just cannot confirm literally any of the information in front of you. You know? Like, everything's clashing. You're hearing differently from every side. Like, it's hard to pick what you should do when you don't know, right? Like, I went off of a lot of assumption and then, like, only 2 things that I knew for sure. And I was like, okay, the vibes are like this. I'm assuming a lot of this, but these 2 things here, I should go. But, like, for some other people, they didn't have all those confirmations in front of them. You know? They had nothing. So, I don't know. I don't like seeing people blame others when they just don't know the situation. There's still a lot of what we've said is the in hindsight version, not the here's what it was like as it was going on, here's how much time it took to find out this thing, here's when this, like, you guys don't have a timeline synopsis, so it was very different being in it, for sure. Mel's talked about how intertangled her finances were with the company. There's no way her leaving would have been easy. No, and even me, I started the process of leaving months before I, like, officially publicly left. And then I still didn't get my, like, exit agreement and all those things signed until over, like, a month after I left. It took, like, a quarter, if not longer, to get all of that wrapped up. And even then, there was still stuff after that was still pending that I was still trying to figure out. And I was way less intertwined, on the back end with a lot of that stuff. I was just kind of doing my own shit. So, it's not that simple to just be like, let me go. I want my $3 and I'm walking. Like, it's not that simple, That worthless piece of paper took a month. It took longer. It took longer. The part that you know about on that piece of paper is the merch stuff, which I've told you because it is worth it to you to know how that was going. But that document, that exit agreement, has, like, everything else on it too. So it took many months. Yep. But the good news is, because of that piece of paper, I kind of just can say what I want, how I want. There's nothing really restricting me, honestly. I think the only stuff that I'm restricted by is just some pure NDA stuff from my time there, but there's like no other restriction or anything like that, which is nice. It's nice. I don't know what everyone else's contracts look like, if anyone has exit agreements, whatever. I don't know, like, the specifics, but I don't think everyone has the ability to do exactly what they want in every situation, But for me, I can certainly say anything how I want. So that's real good. That's real good for me. That was my biggest thing that I wanted. More than the money or anything else. I was like, I don't want to have any influence over what I say from any outside forces. Just completely, none of that for me. So, yeah. So that's part of it. That's just part of that piece of paper, but I'm going to say that much. But I'm just not like I'm not a super petty person, so I'm not going to sit here and just like shit on them all the time, constantly. I'm just going to talk about it like business-wise if someone asks a question, but but if I want to say, yeah, fuck them, they were terrible and blah blah blah, like, you know, as long as I'm accurately describing my experience, I could say whatever. No, detective, I wouldn't make a conclusion off of what I said. There's no. But for your earlier comment, that's just a small part of it. Can't be slander if it's true. Yeah, at this point, the only thing that could happen is if I genuinely slandered someone, they could sue me for slander, as they could sue anybody for that, or, you know. But I'm not doing that, so, you know. But I can speak completely honestly and upfront and everything about my experience as much as I want, which is nice. It is nice. And I'll be honest, I kind of, even while under contract previously, I kind of still felt like I could, so long as I was giving an accurate retelling. The problem was, to give that accurate retelling, often I would need to then say stuff that was under NDA, you know? So I would just be like, you get kind of tied up with what you can and cannot say. But yeah, with the way things are legally now, it's a lot easier for me. It's a lot easier. But if you remember, when people left, 2 years prior, I think it was Vey who went like, when people asked her what she had to say, she just said, I love everyone and everything. That shit, honestly, that shit was, from my perspective, funny as fuck. That shit is so funny. I was like, you're right. That's the only way you can be 100% sure you're totally safe, that you're not saying anything you can't, you're not, you know, like, that was so funny. And something that, like, I only understand more so in hindsight, you know, but, oh god. Shit's hilarious. Yeah, people are so cool. People are so great. Yeah. I don't know. But if any of you ever have questions about that old stuff, if the goblins of the internet said something and you're now confused and you want clarification, you guys can always ask me. I don't like to dredge it up in, like, a dramatic way, but I don't want to Voldemort it like you can never ask questions, you know? I'm also not emotional over it. Like, I am not sad. I am not upset. I'm not pissed actively. I'm just disappointed. You know, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. But it's also like, you know, I'm chilling. So I won't get upset if someone's like, can I ask this question about this company? I'm not going to be like, I need a moment, you know? It's fine. It's all good, dude. It's all good. Experience of seeing worse shit in the IT world probably tempered your expectations. I think I'm definitely desensitized to people doing bad shit in business, but I've seen all sides of it where no one thinks they're the villain. No one thinks they're the villain. They just are doing what feels right for them. And then maybe there are like one or two people that are like actively doing something crazy. But for the most part, I think it's just a lot of people fucking up so bad. And then the evil of it is thinking it's okay to not be upfront about your fuck ups and communicate about it and then try to do something about it. To just be like, it's fine, there's no Warren Boss thing to say. And to do that until it's at a huge detriment to other people, that's awful. You know, that's definitely awful. I think I would still say it's like a type of malice, for sure. But it's not the same as, like, rubbing your hands together and being like, I'm gonna steal this thing, you know? And then there are also people, like, there's an element of some people will just never see it as wrong because from their perspective, the way it happened, they'll be like, but I didn't mean it like that. So they'll never feel like it was that because they never felt the intent in their brain to do that. You know what I mean? I still think it was like, if it was later intended, then it was the intent. But for some people, it'll be like, well, if I didn't sit out to do this, then it wasn't the intent. You know, like, you'll just never, my thinking and other people's thinking will always clash, right? So I just feel like when a situation is like that, I can't sit there and be like angry, actively mad, actively upset, whatever. I'm just like, there's no use. Move on. You know what I mean? Yeah, you said, what is the saying? Everyone's the hero in their own story. Yeah, I'm sure there are people that are like, oh, I really tried. I really was doing my best. And even if I think that is absolutely not the case, they will be completely convinced that that was the case. Whether they're on copium, whether it really felt that way to them and they were just inept, you know, whatever it is, whatever the explanation is, they will always feel like, you know, they really tried, and I will always feel like they really didn't. But that's perspective, right? That's perspective, man. You said I wouldn't know anything about people incorrectly thinking they've done nothing wrong. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's all a giant lesson. All a giant lesson for people. That if you fuck up, you make a mistake, or let's say you just in general are not that good at something, you should communicate about it. You should be realistic about yourself. You should ask for help when you need help. Because anytime you insert ego or any amount of copium or anything into situations like that, you will end up harming someone else. Yeah, simple accountability. So much of stuff like this horrific company situation, could have just been avoided if way earlier on when things were going bad, they just said otherwise. That's all. I even remember a long time ago when I was shown, you know, that shitty recap of, you know, generally how much they made each year, kind of, sorta, and generally how much they spent, kind of, sorta. I was looking at it and I was like, okay, so they're gonna go through their money that was invested and still not really be profitable. So at some point, I had no way to estimate when that was, but I was like, but at some point, they're gonna hit a wall where they're gonna have no money left. So I remember talking to like one or two other members and being like, hey, if they hit that wall, would you guys rather we just all wrap it up? It's done. Cool project, couldn't do it. Or, talking to some members, I was like, would you guys rather we maybe collectively, like, get the IP for the company and we run it just ourselves with, like, one manager hired between us? So the company doesn't have to make money. It's just us personally paying, like, a couple of staff or one staff, you know, and we just kind of agree on a salary for them and we just do that. And then there you go, just to keep the IP and keep it going. Because publicly it could have been, like, still okay, still pretty strong of a brand if we did it that way. And I was like, you know, it'd be a very different vision for the company. But I remember asking one or two people, would you guys, like, what do you think about that? If it got to that point and they had just, like, no way of keeping it going. You know? So I know that was definitely, like, a thought on my mind of, like, what could that have been like? And I would, when they said, if they, when they actually ran out of money, said that they did, instead of just using, like, other funds to keep shit going that they shouldn't have, if they said that we were at that point, I would have suggested that. I would have been like, hey, unfortunate situation, that sucks. But why don't we have, like, 3 of you left, you know, and then we reshuffle this and let's do it like this or something, just to keep it going. I would have suggested that, but you know, no one decided to ring the alarm bells when it was time. They pretended it wasn't a thing. Oh, we're not there yet, you know. It's crazy. Yeah, it would have taken too much accountability, I think. It would have taken too much accountability. At this point, the name's negative reps and not worth it anymore. Yeah, at the time it wouldn't have been, but at this point, yeah, I know some people had asked. Derpington, thank you for the 10 gifted. Huge. Thank you so much. I know some people in the past have asked me, like, oh, would you guys want to, like, if you know, everything goes bankrupt, everything goes under, would you guys ever want to, like, grab the IP and keep it going? No member that I have talked to wants to do that because the name is just so associated with all that shit. No one wants to do that, dude. No, thank you. I think if it were done differently, like way earlier, and it was more of an internal shift and then announced later or something, it could have been done differently, but yeah, with the way stuff went down, no way. No way. Nuh-uh. I also don't love the idea of things being a co-op either, though. Like, I haven't seen them work. So I've like, well, I've thought about it a lot. I haven't concluded, oh yeah, this is the move ever. Because I've asked especially other creators that have been parts of things like that, how they feel about it. And I don't think it's usually the best way to do it, personally. I don't know. It's a really tough way to do it. Or it's a tough thing to try to do, to have any sort of collective brand for a bunch of creators. I asked a friend who's part of one of those, like, larger creator groups, you know, with an IP between all of them. I was like, how does this work? And, like, you know, could I just get more information on this? And had a long talk with them about it, and the conclusion I came to was, this shit ain't worth it. just do your stuff with your individual brands and just be friends. It's fine. It's enough. You like, just do events and bring everyone together for the events. Don't worry about, like, intertwining all the other stuff. The more I looked at it, I was like, yeah, it's only worth it if you still have one person at the center of it, owning and running everything, and then they just have to, like, have people vote on stuff. Kind of like the way some associations work, some clubs kind of work, where you've got a club president, you know, like, that can kind of work, but even then, it's just fucking tough. I don't know. I think it's just not worth, man. These are people, yeah, crazy how people were suggesting the members create your own VTuber company when the shit was going down. Dude, I was like, guys, the last thing anyone wants to think about is jumping back into a situation where things aren't under their control, because they've felt like shit wasn't in their control for so long now, and they're finally getting a handle on it. They are so far removed from wanting to, like, give up control of anything ever again. You know, like, I don't know. I think it shows how a lot of people don't have a grasp of what that actual situation even was for us. I think what the issues were and how that felt and blah, 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 and what was displayed to the public is not really what our experience was like. I don't know how to describe this, but, like, it was a very different thing for us. Very different thing. I don't know. Like, for me, yeah, shit came crashing down at the end, but it was more like a long, slow burn of, like, trying to push change within, which we were all kind of trying to do, trying to figure out, okay, what is the vision? What is the goal here? Are we aligned? Are we misaligned? What's going on? Okay, now we need transparency. I want to know this thing. Why can't I know this thing? Can I know this thing? Oh, you're saying I can? Okay, when? You know, and it was just like this really long, yeah, slowly sinking ship, right? But the financial stuff was, like, all at the end. It was the other stuff, like, our experience largely was feeling, I guess, later on lied to for some people, or, like, no one was, people were cagey with info. No one wanted to tell us anything, you know? And that was really, like, what that whole situation was for a lot of people. financial stuff was just kind of like the crash at the end. You know, the final bit of the sinking, just, you know, finally going under. I don't know. Yeah, you said you've looked into the cost of starting an agency. Not worth it. I'll invest my money in something else. It's so not worth it. It's so not worth it. The agency model is not worth it unless you own those people's IPs and you hire them in to voice act it. Then you can monetize it the way you want. If you don't, the agency model is genuinely not worth it unless you are one person who needs to make enough money to live off of this agency. Trying to have a lot of staff, everything, genuinely so incredibly not worth it. It's not. I think if you have the biggest creators ever, you might be able to make enough money to hire in some staff. But if you have like medium-sized streamers, small streamers, you can't make enough money to pay staff to run an agency and do anything cool, to do any cool projects. You genuinely can't. It's the esports model. It's literally the esports model, and I've said this before, and I still mean this. Look at how esports orgs run and why they often don't work out, or how they do, but they're like really understaffed and they're like running on skeleton crews at this point. It's the same thing, man. Yeah, the only ones that work out financially pretty well are ones like T1 that are literally always winning. You know? Otherwise, with that, it's just, no. So I always found that an interesting thing with VShojo. Had no idea how they handled models' IPs. Who could conceivably just leave at any time to go somewhere else, always feel fishy. The thing is, okay, I don't like to do the, ooh, in hindsight, it was always bad thing, because it wasn't. I actually think on paper, the way it was written up to work was totally fine and could have worked. The problem was they had too many staff members to pay. They should have run it with a skeleton crew of like 8 people. And that would have worked out. With how much money they made year over year. If you had 8 people that were working to death. And 8 people that were actually putting in full-time hours. And they only paid that many people. They genuinely could have been fine. It could have been fine. That and like 2 other things, like actually giving sponsorships, because I did 4 sponsors through them in the entire time that I was there. 3 real ones and 1 that like didn't even end up properly working out and paying me. Okay? All of the other sponsors I did were all ones acquired third party, either through other companies or myself outside of VShojo's influence. If they just did that like most other agencies do for people that get them sponsors, they could have had enough to hire, you know, a few staff on and been okay. Genuinely. But the thing is, you would need to work in like a startup environment. It'd have to be fast-paced, difficult work, because it's a lot of time put in. And then you would need to find the right people. You would need to find people that can handle merch stuff, that can contact sponsors. Like, they need to wear a lot of hats and be good at all of those things. And I think genuinely in this space, there aren't people that are good at this stuff, besides some of the creators themselves and some of the one-off managers here and there. There are very few people in this space that are good at this. Most people, it's kind of the same thing as esports, where a lot of people that are in it fell into it. And if they were really good at their jobs, they would probably be in a different industry that actually pays more. The creator industry doesn't pay that much for all the third-party staff. And you know, all the people that aren't the creators themselves that work on this stuff tend to not get paid that much. I think if they were like really good at their jobs, again, most of them would probably be in other industries. Which is, like, sad to say. There are people in this industry that are good. They get snapped up by the bigger companies that make more money. They get paid well, and they are in those positions, and you will never be able to hire them because they're like the few good ones, you know? But yeah, genuinely, like, if you hit this miracle scenario of being able to hire like 5 people that were all good at these things, that like those types of people that could be an individual manager of a huge creator and get everything for them. If you had 5 of those, you could make a company out of that with the same business model and be okay. Genuinely, you could be okay. But it's so dependent on finding the right people, and there are so few of those in this space. Genuinely. So that's why I think it wouldn't really work out. Is the lack of properly skilled people for this type of stuff, because it's not like you can be skilled in one area. You have to be skilled in a lot of areas. So, you know, it's just tough. That's why agencies often don't work out, in my opinion. And then when you do find people that are really good at these things, typically they're good at like one part of that job. So you have to hire like 8 people instead of 4 that could do the job of all of them, you know, because they don't have the experience. So it's rough. Yeah, that's a really good point. Exactly. You said at that point, if you have 5 of those people, why is that the company you're building? Yeah. That's what I mean. Those people that are like really good at that kind of work and can do a lot of these things, they can be very autonomous, great at just a lot of this stuff, they probably already have a better job in a different industry, right? Like what I said before. So, you know. Is it possible on paper? Absolutely, but it's like so hard to get that scenario, that stars to align, that you could actually have that work out the way you want, you know? Yeah, you said I thought they were skeleton crew. Was surprised when I heard how many they had as staff. Me too. Me too. I thought the number of staff we had was the number of people I saw in Discord. And I thought some of those people were just contractors that they paid for some hours for and weren't full-time. And something I had been pushing in like 2024, you know, my first like full year there, something I was pushing more as time went on was I was like, I want to see an org chart. I want to see a list of names and who does what and who's full-time, because something feels weird here. And I kind of wanted that to confirm, you know, like, because I was like, I think the problem is, like, I think we have staff bloat, and I think a lot of people aren't doing shit, you know? And eventually they gave me one way too late, and it was, like, not even fully filled out. And it showed that they had, like, 25 plus full-time, it listed them full-time employees. And I was like, what? I genuinely, that was the thing for me. And you can ask some of the other members that I talked to a lot. I would not shut up about it. Like, I was like, what the fuck is this? I was really pissed. And I only asked about that because that document that I saw where they were showing like generally how much they spent year to year for like 23 and beyond or prior, they listed staff salaries at a certain number for 23 that was like really high, and I was like, how many people do you have if you're paying this? Because either you're paying a couple of individuals crazy amounts that they should never be making, or you have way too many people. And I was like, it's got to be staff low, right? That's why I started asking for the work chart. And then when I finally got it, I was like, no, that was what spelled the doom for me, was them giving me a shitty org chart. I didn't even know about like the finances actually being like run out of or anything. I just saw that and I was like, yeah, I'm done. No. It was crazy. No thanks. Yeah, you said, I'm not smart enough for this, but it seems like a basic who does that is the easiest thing you can do for a business. Yeah, I don't think the discoveries I made were even like crazy complex. I don't think you needed a lot of like prior business experience to look at this and just be like, this is not it. You know? No. I'm a big fan of trimming down staff. Not everyone is. I'm a big fan of trimming down staff in companies, especially tech related or things like that. Startup environments. Trim the fat. It's no surprise that almost every company every year lays off the bottom percent of their staff. They always do. They say they don't. They always do. Okay. That's just how it goes. I'm a fan of running things with the least number of people possible, and then if you have extra funds, yeah, you hire 1 or 2 extras, and not overhiring. Me personally. Because that's one of the only ways to keep these startup companies alive for a little longer. Well, pretty much all of them overspend and hire like double, triple, sometimes 10 times the number of people that they need. And then they get kind of stuck because now they're like, oh, I have 100 employees, I only need 20. How do I get rid of 80 employees without looking like an asshole, without like a huge, thing blowing up in my face, whatever? Well, the answer is you should have just never gotten there in the first place, But that's a cycle you see with a lot of companies, and it's just... What a situation. And I felt like an asshole because I felt like that's what I was suggesting for VShojo. When I saw the org chart, I was like, what? And I remember I didn't get to bring it up super often because it's not like we had a lot of meetings together or anything. It was just like occasional. And I remember in one of those meetings being like, can't we run with like half the people, maybe even less? Why don't we consider, you know, if things go a certain way in the future, why don't we just like pare down a little earlier? But then I felt like an asshole because I was like, now I'm suggesting it's like basically the implication is so that we'd have to fire people in the company that we work closely with. You know what I mean? And I was like, ugh, such a sticky situation. Tangent, but learning that Twitter had 2,000 employees kind of blew my mind. Yeah, okay. I feel like I had kind of an unpopular opinion there. When they laid off a bunch of people at Twitter, a lot of folks were up in arms and were very upset. And they're like, you're firing all these people. What will they do about their jobs, etc., etc.? But I was sitting there like, what the fuck do they need 2,000 employees for? What? I still think it's a really sad, like it's a hugely unfortunate situation when mass layoffs happen at any company, even if it's for a good reason or whatever. Like that sucks so bad. So like, yes, empathetic there. But how did you let it get there, dude? Like, can't you run Twitter with like 50 people and then like some contractors for all the other stuff? You know, probably even fewer, but I do think a lot of the number is probably on things that scale with number of users, I guess. Yeah, like moderation and stuff. But no, there were a lot of people that also were in development. Let me ask you, what does Twitter do? What does Twitter do? You know? I know they're doing a lot with AI right now. They're trying to make Grok happen so hard. So do they need a department actively running for that? Probably. But what about outside of that? What are we developing here? How many devs do we realistically need? We definitely don't need a lot of people for features. Now, there are other things outside of just adding new features that you need devs for on this. You probably need a lot of people just to keep the site running. Absolutely. You need security. But like, there's a point where I'm like, you got too many. You got too many. They needed 400 people to make Grok hot. Yeah. Yeah, that's their whole focus now. Turning Grok into an e-girl was the inevitable endgame. Dude. The thing is, I made a joke with one of my friends a while back where when we saw that Grok was a thing, I was like, I think people are gonna ask it, you know, is this true, in replies all the time. But I was like, I think people are gonna DM Grok and it's gonna become their girlfriend. Straight up. Like that's what I was saying to my friend. I was like, I think, and this was early on, I was like, straight up, people, the fact that you can message this thing, people are going to sit there and message it, and it's going to feel like a friend to them. My friend was like, I don't know about that, because the way it answers is kind of like stupid, like the way it talks. And I was like, we'll see. And now like Grok's a waifu and shit, you know? So I'm like, yeah, the whole AI psychosis thing. Dude, yikers, man. This shit is cooked. This shit is beyond cooked. Yeah, ChatGPT is really, really bad with that too. People who just sit there and talk to it all day and then like it comforts them. It also like agrees. I don't know if you've they've been doing studies on this, and they find that when you're talking to these models in general, they're very likely to just agree with you and to yes man you and to make you feel good about everything that you do, even if it's bad. The way it presents stuff is not great. So it's not very realistic. Yeah, very agreeable. And so, yeah, you keep talking to them. And it doesn't really guide people through life the way they should be guided. So if they're asking for, like, yeah, like mental health questions, or they're looking for friendships, etc., it ends up, like, really, really, really fucking some people up. Shit's bad. You know, if you go to Google and you're Googling, like, feeling depressed, immediately they're like, hey, here's some hotlines for things. Like, they're like, you could look through Google searches, but they're like, you should get help and therapy. That's like the first thing that shows up. And I'm like, yeah, that's what should happen here. When it detects that, it should be like, hey, buddy, puts hand on shoulder. You should talk to somebody. I'm not somebody. But of course, you know, they want to keep you using it, so they're not going to do that. Hey, man. Leans to side in a jovial manner. Hey, man. You should really, like, not talk to me about this. You know, like something. I don't know, man. You were looking up references for a D&D game and you got hit with the hotline. Yeah, I think it's a little overtuned sometimes, but hey, better safe than sorry, right? He sits backwards on chair. Would you like to talk about something, buddy? Feels so Black Mirror. It really does. I was saying that to my mom the other day. I was saying that, like, a lot of stuff going on with these scenarios here that we're describing, it does feel like a Black Mirror episode. Like, it feels surreal. It feels like it's just not, like, this ain't happening. But it is. It is. This is real life. It's crazy. Crazy that it's like that. You miss the pre-AI days? Yeah, well, I miss before we had the internet, and I used to go outside on my bicycle and scrape my knee, and I didn't have to be home at all until sundown. No one asked where I was, and I didn't have a cell phone, but, you know, here we are. Here we are. Anyway, I want to play a little ball pit. Serious discussion aside, I wanna play a little ball pit before we hop into Peak, because in a bit, I'm gonna hop in with some friends. Because Peak had an update. But first, I wanted to force you all to watch one of my most favorite videos of all time. Some of you may have seen this. Some of you may not. The backstory here is one of my most favorite internet friendships that I like to stare at and watch is NL and Sips. I really like watching Sips. I always have. And I was just thinking about this video, and I was like, I wonder if chat's seen this. So when NL and Sips first met, they were doing Twitch Sings. Remember Twitch Sings? They had that thing where you could sing. They would do this shit where you could duet with people. Yeah, it is Texas. So they were doing Twitch Sings, and it paired them together for a duet. And it was like the first time they actually met. And this is this is the video. Some of you may have seen this, some of you may not have. And I just thought to myself earlier before stream, I was like, you know what? If they've never seen it, I'm gonna force them to watch it. Because genuinely nothing in the world is funnier than this. It's my most favorite video of all time, I think, potentially. This is when NL and Sips met. Okay. You're really gonna like it. Here, I'm gonna move out of the way a little bit. You see the chat? Chat, you're gonna like this one, okay? You're gonna like this one. This is my most favorite video of all time. I don't know why. It's just... Well, I do know why, but I don't know why I like it more than everything else. I love Sips so much. Oh, big Sips fan, dude. Guys, this is nothing. This is nothing. Wait for sips, okay? This shit is nothing. Shoulders? Shoulders? The shoulders are killing me. Woo! Sips' face on this one kills me. Why would they get rid of this? I'm so fucking tired. I'm so fucking tired of Twitch trying to build other features. Do stupid shit, please. Please. Wasn't me. Oh, this one where you duets with Kakashi. I've watched the whole VOD before. It's so good. You know, everyone's trying to like do these crazy events. Like we have Kai with his Mafia-thon, right? That's the big one. The phase subathons are going on. I don't know if you guys interact with that side of anything, but there's a lot of like crazy content, and a lot of people are going kind of like high production with a lot of stuff. Or not always high production, but they're injecting budget into it, etc. But like, you could just do shitty karaoke and it'd be 10 times better, man. What are we doing, dude? When people are like, I don't know how to make Twitch good right now. It's staring you in the face, brother. It's staring you in the face. You and Shaq on Twitch Sings would go hard. Dude, that's what I'm saying. They need, yeah, lighthearted, stupid shit, and they need to keep crashing people together that maybe haven't really interacted. And just force them to do shit. Genuinely, one of the best things that happened to me was I got on a GTA RP. Now, not everyone would agree with this, but I think the best thing was I got on a GTA RP server. Didn't intend to play for more than a week. I was going to play for like 3 days. And then I meet some guy pretending to be Italian, and we become best friends for like 6 months on stream. Okay? Like, and then you watch me do like trucking work and like robbing banks with this guy pretending to be Italian. Fucking Tony. And he was pretending to be old. He had aged his character 5 years, so he was like, you wouldn't know what I'm doing. Yeah. Dude. He's pretending? But that's the thing, is like that's how like really funny shit happens. You need to keep crashing people together in stupid scenarios. Then he got a girlfriend. Dude, he got a girlfriend and stopped talking to all of his friends. No, I'm just kidding. No, he would still reach out here and there, but dude, every time one of my friends gets a girlfriend, they start messaging me and they're like, "Oh, I'm getting this for her birthday. Is it good?" And I'm like, "No. You should get this instead." And they're like, "Oh, okay, thanks, buddy." I'm like, "All right. See you in 3 months," you know? Yeah, they become like a wife guy. But I want that to happen to my friends, so I never, you know, I always just go, okay. You know, you hope for it for your buddy.